Welcome to the 100th Monkey Radio with Tom and LFP. We are recording this on Happy Friday the 13th of 2017, on January 13th of 2017. Friday the 13th's always been a good day for me. Yeah. I don't know if that's part of my rebellious spirit speaking up, everybody, the unlucky Friday the 13th, and I just go, no bullshit. Nope.
Yeah, it's always exciting for some reason.
Yeah. So I always have a good day. Yeah. And today was no exception. I had actually a very positive day at work. I mean, it was very uplifting and had a great attitude all day long. And when I do that, when I get into that really good glow, it just seems like everyone in the shop is in a good mood.
Well, yeah, of course.
I'm kind of I kind of put stuff out pretty strong sometimes. I call that my Tom Sawyer effect, right?
Yeah, right.
What you say about his company is what you say about society, right?
I love that song.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I want to. We haven't done a lot of shows here in the last 5-6 months, and we haven't done a show for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
And, to all of our loyal listeners out there, I kind of want to give you a heads up and explain to you guys a little bit about what's been going on with me here personally. And, for the last year, there's been this need for me to seek distraction. That's the best way I can describe it. And, let me go back a little farther than that even. I mean, and this experience I actually talked about on a couple of shows that we did here in the last couple of years. I think it was in August of 2014. We went to Elizabeth and I had gone to the fairgrounds at the Southwest Washington Fair. And while we were at the fair, I opened my senses up. I'm very empathic. I mean, and I decided, it was kind of an experiment I wanted to do in the middle of a big crowd. I think it was it was a Saturday, early or late afternoon Saturday. The place was packed. I wanted to just open myself up and see what I sensed. Well, I opened myself up and I was hit like a ton of bricks. And I mean, it got so overwhelming that I started getting dizzy and disoriented. I actually had to sit down, and it took me a couple of minutes to shut down those channels within myself, and get to even to a point where I could stand up and walk. And that was really very striking to me that I had experienced it that intensely. Because I've experienced some pretty overwhelming energies in the past when opening myself up and focusing in on sections and segments and attitudes and that sort of thing, but I'd never done it in just a real broad sense in the middle of a crowd.
Yeah, wide open.
And that kind of it threw me for a bit of a loop, and I think I've been there has been a very long-lasting effect from that experience. That kind of triggered something within me that took me a while to really get sorted out. I think, and a lot of this was going on subconsciously within me, where I wasn't fully aware that the feelings and the impressions and the expressions that I was experiencing were more of a reflection of what I was sensing empathically from the world around me. And again, here's that Tom Sawyer effect, right? The what you say about his company is what you say about society. That's empathy right there. That one line out of that song is full blown empathy. And it took me quite a while to really sort this out, and when I had kind of, not necessarily sorted out, because I thought there was nothing to sort out for quite a while. I mean, I thought I had it all shut down and that I wasn't experiencing it and that it wasn't affecting me. I thought those channels were shut. But what was coming through on those subconscious channels, on those other frequencies that I wasn't aware of, has had a pretty dramatic effect in my life, in the way I was acting, in the way I was feeling. And this last year, I started to realize that there was something more going on there than what I was consciously being aware of. And this really came to a head for me about, I'd say the November, December of last year, just before the new year, where it really started coming to the surface for me, because and I have to thank our political scene in the United States here for a lot of this, because I was seeing the very intense emotion and reaction to the elections and to the campaign. I was seeing those really intense emotions being projected by two very large groups of people, or two polarities that in our society, and I was seeing that overlay on the way I was feeling personally, and that helped me start to put together what I'd been sensing, and that my personal attitude and my personal expression in the world, I was seeing how those two factions had been affecting me. So when I recognized this, and it really started. I really started to be able to formulate this in my mind and explain it to myself in the middle of November. Where I started getting the aha, and I just am finding this stuff fascinating. That I was able to see a very direct correlation in the way I felt when I got up in the morning, the way I felt. I was able to look out in the world and on the world stage and see my feeling being expressed somewhere. And then I started putting together, and then asking the questions of myself, is this my feeling, or is this just what I'm receiving and I'm expressing this? And when I started asking that question of myself, I started understanding, I have some channels open that at that point, I didn't know I hadn't shut those. I didn't know those channels were open. So the first step in resolving a problem or fixing a problem is identifying it, right?
Right.
So at this point, I'm starting to identify that I'm being influenced by these energies much more than I had thought I was being influenced. So once I was able to identify that and see that reflected in my own life, then I started putting it together and going, okay, now I know what it is, so now I can find those switches. So I started going internal again and started looking again inside. Where is that switch? Where do I shut this off at? Where do I where do I censor it within myself? So we'll put this in a nutshell for you guys. I know it's been a little bit a long explanation here, but I've been able to now. I'm no master at this by any way, shape, or form yet, but I've been able to now identify it within myself when those feelings or these emotions come up that I don't understand where they come from. I'm able to identify them as being a receiving instead of something that's being generated in me. And if I can see it like that, I can throw the flag and I can check it. I can go, oh, okay, that's what that is. That's something that, whether it's something I need to deal with, whatever. I can put it in a place for me to handle in some way, shape, or form now. So anyways, it's been a very enlightening time for me. And, in our show today, we're going to talk about some of the energies that have been happening along the same timeline that I'm talking about right here. And this is our first show of 2017, and I know for the last 6 years now? 6 years now, right? Or 7 years? oh geez, I didn't look at the, I think it's 6 or 7 years now that we've had Inelia Benz with us to talk about the coming year and see what the energies are that are going on out there. But I just found that these revelations that I've had here recently, and me being able to actually quit seeking the distraction. I mean, I got to such a point that I was looking for distraction. I wanted to be distracted from myself because of the way I was feeling, the way I was expressing myself, and I didn't want to be a stick in the mud for anybody else's party. So let me just stick my head in the sand, and I'll figure out what the hell's going on, and then before I pull my head out, well, whether it's pulling my head out of my ass or pulling it out of the sand, one or the other.
Either way, there's some grit.
Before I get back out here on the internet and start talking to you guys again, I needed to have some things sorted out for myself, and I'm still a work in progress, but I think I've definitely made some good strides forward, and I think the show that we're going to do for you guys today is going to shed a little bit more light on. Well, you'll see a little bit of the overlays of what's been going on energetically and what I've been experiencing personally. So, in light of that, LFP, you want to toss anything else in here before we bring Inelia in?
No, let's just get it started.
Okay, so you guys all know Inelia Benz. If you've been listening to the show at all, ever, you know who this woman is, and she is just an amazing light on this planet right now. She is sharing some wisdom, and I just don't know. I can't say how much I love this woman and what she's been doing for people out here in the world today, and especially in the time that we're in history right now. The value of what she's bringing to the table. Her website is ascension101.com, and I strongly urge all of you to go over there and check out her website and the work that she's been doing. And welcome back to the 100th Monkey, Inelia Benz.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you, guys. I feel so welcome now.
So, Inelia, any comments on what I just explained there about my own experience?
Yeah, well, I have a question first. When you say you decided to distract yourself, how did you do that? What did you do?
Well, I jumped into a hobby. So I would fly airplanes. Okay, I do remote control airplanes. So I would go into building my airplanes or going out to fly, and just dived in with both feet into the hobby. Or I'd turn on a TV series, like I think I watched Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the full thing. I have Netflix, so I don't do commercials and I don't do regular TV, but I thoroughly enjoy some amazing stories that are out there. Yeah. So I did things like that. I watched a series from season 1 till whenever.
That's called Netflix binging.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the sort of distract. And I wanted something that was that wasn't. I had to have something busy, right? So something that was engaging my mind. Right. And I didn't want. I avoided that real quiet time with Tom. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, the times that you mentioned from August and then especially October, November, all the way to the end of December, those were waves that were coming through us, all of us, and it was very uncomfortable because it was like a pull-push between light and dark energies that were really, really intense, especially the November-December one. It was really, really intense. And when I heard your experience of what you did, opening yourself up completely, when I talk to people who are empaths or psychic in any ways, I always tell them that to do that, it's like going into a city, for example, New York, and opening your arms and legs and saying, yeah, everybody's welcome. Or if you have and if you have an apartment there, just leaving your door open and your your windows open with big neon signs saying, come in, whoever you are, you know. So we don't do that, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. There's a lot of energies, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of beings on the planet right now. And even our entourages, which we might call our guides and angels and all that, they change and shift in vibration energy, and even sometimes themselves move out and others move in, according to the choices we make and according to the experiences we want to have. So it is also a good idea to review our entourage like once a year or something, to see if everybody in the team is compatible with where we want to be or what we want to experience. A lot of people who experience or have chosen low frequency energies and experiences have low frequency and energy guides to let them do that. So it's always a good idea, if you've chosen now to drop all that, to also review your entourage and fire some people and beings and maybe employ others. Mm-hmm. So that's a couple of things there. The time has been hard. Coming up to about 3 days before the end of 2016 and coming up to January and all of 2017, and actually really far into the future, basically what's been happening is that people have to make a choice. The two paradigms, one of oppression and low frequency, and the one that's empowerment and high frequency, are not compatible. They cannot exist with each other or in the same planet. So each individual has to make a choice now which one they're going to go with. And if you've chosen the light one, if you stay in integrity with regards to your thoughts and the feelings and everything else, in other words, if you fall or are pulled into drama, that you pull yourself out as soon as you can, and also you work at processing your low frequency energies, vibrations, thoughts, desires, but only for a little while. You know, I always tell people only do that for 20% of your day, and the rest of the day spend it with things that you really love to do and enjoy. So it could be anything really, but each person enjoys different things. And so it's like if you are very diligent and you do not engage in low frequency vibrations, this wave, which will last until about the end of March, is going to be super intense. You're going to be doing just great. You're going to have really good 3 months. You know, it's going to be like a breath of fresh air. You're going to love it. But if you do indulge and you've chosen to like a lighter, higher frequency choice for your life, but you start indulging in low frequency stuff, you're going to suffer. You're going to have a really tough time of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, for me, it seems like these last couple months, and especially now, beginning of this year, I do keep myself, you know, engaged in these higher thought forms, right? And mm-hmm. reflecting internally, you know, about myself and externally about the world. And like I said, I do engage in these higher thought patterns, but it's also, it seems like there's a lot of oppression energy that's being placed down on me right now. You know, mm-hmm. even though I'm engaging in these higher thought patterns, different instances are occurring, you know, throughout the day and, you know, throughout these last few weeks, you know, that seem like it's, you know, I'm thinking, wait a minute, you know, I'm staying positive, you know. Even when these things do come up, I'm not, you know, cussing them out and this kind of stuff. You know, I'm staying positive and I'm looking on the brighter side. But it just seems like the shit just keeps getting stacked on. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I didn't say it was going to be easy.
Well, that's the target syndrome, right? So yeah. I mean, as the lighter the brighter the light shines, the easier it is to be recognized by the darkness.
Only if you still engage in and carrying a bit of darkness in you. Otherwise, you're going to be totally and absolutely invisible to them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've experienced that end of it too, yes.
You step out of their spectrum, basically. And that's why when you feel those pressures and things coming at you, it's really important to spend a bit of time in meditation and simply not engaging, not even going, holy crap, pardon my French, what the hell's going on? It's like even that energy is one of victim or engagement, right? So it's like, yeah, it's there. It's like, wow, it's like air. It's like a cloud. It's like a tree, a little birdie fluttering, or like, but it's really important not to engage with it at any level, because then you will get hurt. Then it's going to get really tough, because yes, you're going to be brighter and shinier than ever, but because you're still engaging in a little bit of low frequency energies, that's how they see you, and that's when you become a target. It's not impossible, and it's not like easy to do. It's a matter of baby steps. So we make those moments of high frequency expression of ourselves become longer each day, and the ones that we express of low frequency expressions of ourselves make them shorter. So, for example, we have an emergency kit for getting out of the low frequency stuff. We put in Ascension 101 tool section. It's like just a page full of like instructions and kits. Links to files and YouTubes and stuff. And it's just an emergency kit. When you get sucked in, and we're all going to get sucked in, we have this kit, or like things like a sentence that always pulls us out, or we have a happy place somewhere that in our mind that we can go to. Just basically move out of that area. I was looking at the light-dark battle, the struggle between good and bad and light and dark. We have been in that for thousands of years. And it's very attractive, especially if you're a warrior. It's very attractive, and you want to win. But since 2011, I have seen and perceived and experienced that the only way to win is to drop the battle and just step away from the enemy, let them be, and release them. Obviously, you'll also need really strong boundaries so that they can't get into you. Like Tom has that experience. He pulls down boundaries, and that was not good. So yeah, strong boundaries so that they can't come in, but just release them. Release all that stuff. Just release it. Let it be. Let it exist. Don't judge it, because it's just an expression. It's just not compatible with our expression. That's all, and it's not comfortable for us, for our expression.
All right. So what about that? What about that spiritual warrior? And the way they can deal with this world today, because right now there are so many people that are struggling with their internal processes, that light and dark battle within themselves. And me being, I have that spiritual warrior energy myself, and wanting to go out there and wanting to be a resource for people, and wanting to help others fight their battles also by teaching and sharing, etc. That sort of the classic spiritual warrior stuff, right?
Right.
In this where we're at right now in history, and the way energy is right now, how does that spiritual warrior be effective out there in the world when they do recognize something that traditionally or historically they've been able to be effective at influencing?
Yeah, the warrior energy is really interesting because it contains the word war in it, right? Warrior. And also, a warrior, what does a warrior do? They hurt people to save others, or they hurt people to protect others. I would say that, and I've been guiding individuals who are warriors to evolve into the guardian. And the guardian's energy is very, very different, because they don't necessarily have to hurt others to protect. They will, it's not the martyr energy either. It doesn't mean that they become the punch bags or the front line. But they do contain the exquisite energy of high frequency power that kind of builds a barrier, like that boundary where
on defense now.
It's not even defense, because when you have a defense, you are acting against the other, right? you're defending yourself. You could defend yourself in many, many different ways, including attacking back or hurting back.
Right.
This is different. It's almost like an impenetrable wall of light that the darkness cannot go past. But it doesn't hurt it either, because it's a different frequency, a different vibration. Now, the other thing is that using and changing our vocabulary, helping others with their battles, we will support others with our energy and their co-creations, right? So we feed and support other people's co-creation, which are co-creations of a life filled with love and joy and bounty and support, nurturing. We feed and we support those individuals. We can teach people how to do that. We can be that strength, power, and absolute pureness of energy so that others can map to it or can resonate into it. So it's a different vocabulary, and as a warrior, one of the baby steps is to drop the word do battle, drop the word war, and drop the word struggle. By dropping those, we can see alternatives to how we use that energy, the warrior energy.
Very wise. Very wise. I definitely see the subtle distinction and differences there, and what you just said resonates. Put it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, so here we are. We just, looking at the world right now. The political scene in the United States has gotten energies and emotions and ramped up to a fevered pitch right now in society, and there is such a very distinct polarities being expressed, and there's a very distinct divide happening right now in socially in our society. Is that as above so below thing going on spiritually also right now? Is that very distinct lines being drawn right now spiritually also?
Yeah, well, the line was drawn in 2011. Before 2011, I think we can all agree that we all thought that the entire planet and everybody in it was going to jump into the new paradigm. And then a clause came in about free will and how many people didn't really want to go there, didn't want to do that. So the human collective was split into two camps. One of them wanted to continue in the light-dark games of oppression and suppression and pain and suffering and fear. And the other camp wanted to move out of that and just express fully empowered light, the purity of expression, and move into a broad, huge spectrum of reality and experience, which did not contain or have any type of fear or any type of low-frequency energies in its reality. And that was a decision. Between 2010 and 2017, there was a bridge so that both sides could recruit those ones that hadn't quite made up their minds. They know they had to choose, but they hadn't, into their camp, right? So people were bridging it. And then when I say bridge, it's not like a physical bridge. It's actually people were bridging, making the bridge for others to come over. And that meant you had to contain a bit of light and a bit of dark, or maybe a lot of light and a bit of dark, or a lot of dark and a bit of light, so that you could be seen by those individuals who hadn't chosen yet, or those ones who were struggling, and pull them over and encourage them very strongly to come your way, the one that you've chosen. Now, at the end of December 2016, that bridge collapsed. So we can no longer embody a bridge. We have to now embody our choice. So if you've chosen to embody light, that's what you need to do right now. This is what you have to do, otherwise it's going to be very uncomfortable for you. to embody light and to become pure light in physical sense, in the mental sense, in emotional, energetic, and everything. And again, it's like, one would think, oh my God, how the hell am I going to do that? I have, like, you know, these negative emotions and feelings and thoughts and desires. How am I going to ever do that? These baby steps, you do it one at a time, a little bit at a time, and you expand those moments of you expressing pure light, and you shrink those moments where you're expressing darkness. And that's how we're at the moment. There's no more bridging. And I would say those individuals who still think that there's a bridge or are trying to pull you the other way, just drop them. You really have to. This battle is over. You have to walk away, and that's the only way you can win, is just walk away and start collecting and co-creating with people who want what you want, that want a world of peace, that's pollution-free, that's nurturing, loving, and caring for all its people and animals and plants, a place that is broad and where we can do so much. I mean, from a place like that, we could explore the universe. There would be nothing stopping us. So step into that, I'd say. I'm only saying that because, not because that is wrong. I mean, that is another choice. But because that's the one I chose. And if you choose it too, then you're going to empower my choice.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm encouraging you to choose that one.
So do you think that that the line has already been drawn and the sides have already been picked?
Oh,
right
yeah.
now?
Yeah, absolutely. Now you have to embody it. Now you have to walk your talk, and do it. No more excuses.
Yeah, you know, and I think something just came to me as a something that we will have to work through. I mean, our society taught us to judge. You know, that's one of the things that we're grown and trained and taught how to do, is judge others, right? And I think one thing that's going to be very important for us going forward is to learn how to lose that judgment, because that judgment is not going to do us any good, and it won't do any good to those that we may be judging. Because right now, especially when you're looking at society and people's opinions and their views, and we don't necessarily know the inner choice that someone else has made, and they may just be on something that you may not agree with, but you know, societally or socially we may not agree with. Like, okay, you look at Democrats, Republicans. You know, the Republicans may not agree with what the Democrats are saying, or that friend of mine who's you know, on the other side of the political scene from me, they may not be agreeing with me socially on a certain subject, but they may be just have hold and carry and have made the choice for light just as much as I have, but they have different challenges that they personally have to work through. And if I can't hold my own judgment or find a place to not judge within myself, I'm doing both of us a disservice and not helping them to work through their own processes themselves, and it's obvious that I would still have processes to work through because of the judgment that I would be carrying. So did that make sense to you, Inelia, there?
Yeah. I mean, judgment is a very low frequency engagement to feed. I mean, you feed that low frequency by judging. Now, there's also discernment, right? So be discerning, but out of judgment. Right. It's like, I was telling somebody the other day, I posted something about wanting support for a project that I'm doing, like the Shaman Shack, which is going to be a school. It's an actual physical place. And she said, you know, I'm not really sure how I feel about this. It doesn't quite resonate with me. I have to think about it, right? And I said, that's really the perfect answer, because there's a couple of things here. One of them is that not everybody's path is going to resonate with you. And you have to be really, really in integrity with regards to what path you follow or support. If it doesn't quite resonate with you, don't do it, because you're doing yourself a disservice, but also you're doing the other person a disservice, because with that dissonance or even judgment, you're disempowering the energy of that creation. So it's like, it's like that. I think that's what you were saying also. It's like you're doing a disservice to the other person because they're doing that. Now it's like, just because it's different doesn't make it wrong or you wrong. It's just wrong for you, not for them, right? It's like some people flourish in humid environments and some people flourish in very dry environments. And if somebody who flourishes it doesn't make the environment wrong, it just makes it wrong for the person.
Right.
Right, so.
Right. Another real encouraging thing that I've seen just come out in the last few months is the opening of the eyes, and I'm going to mirror this, so this whole as above, so below thing, the whole fake news thing that's going out there in society right now, and people, calling their bullshit, right? That's not true. That's not true. And people standing up for it and calling them out on it right now. And I think I'm seeing that overlaid also within the spiritual community, within the consciousness community, and the I should say maybe the resources or the path, let me put it this way, the path to find the truth and sort through the BS is easier to locate. Energetically, that's what I've been sensing, is that I mean, you see it out there in society, overtly in the social media, right? You see that overtly out there now. And I think subtly inverted, internally, I think those paths are easier to see and recognize spiritually and consciously for us who are working on the path. Anyways, that's just an impression and a sense that I have about the way we are developing both externally and internally.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. So, I mean, all of our history and all of this, our development has really run on cycles, both big and small cycles. I mean, we have, a week, a day, and the hour. We go, we have all these different astrological cycles, and society goes through amazing cycles where we like to repeat things, right? Over and over and over again. This feels different now. I mean, are we in something different that we, as a collective consciousness, have not experienced before?
Well, the split between inside the collective to have different experiences is new to us because we are here in the middle of it. But it's not new to the human experience. It's not new to the human collective. There's a couple of things to take into account. The human collective is multidimensional. And there were splits even on this planet before that happened between those individuals who wanted to have a higher frequency experience and those who wanted to have a lower frequency experience. But also, our collective, our species, is ancient. It's like billions of years old, and it didn't originate on the planet. And within other experiences, other expressions of our existence in different locations in the universe, there have been splits many, many times before. And even though we may not have experienced them personally, they are in our collective awareness. So there's like a safety and security behind it, knowing that it's not the end of the world, it's not the end of anything, it's just another cycle. That or another branch, I suppose, when the human collective branches again into different directions.
So then what I'm probably sensing is that this cycle is just one of those that hasn't happened in so long that it's kind of slipped out of my energetic memory.
Right. I mean, these splits don't happen very often. They happen very rarely, in fact.
Right. So would this be what we're experiencing now would be likened to what has been called the harvest the harvesting time for the collective, for the consciousness?
Well, you could call it that, but also the harvesting is that you pick yourself.
Right.
Nobody does it for you. You have to pick yourself.
Right. I'm ripe now.
Yes. Pick myself now.
Oh.
Yeah. You know, I was kind of curious about that same thing with the cycles too, because I'm a little bit younger, so I don't remember when Reagan was elected in office. But I've heard people talking about how Reagan was an actor. You know, he's a B-class actor, and he wound up getting elected to office. And now we have Trump, who's another,
Actor.
pseudo
celebrity, whatever he is, and now he's elected into this, into the presidency.
Interesting distinction on Trump is he is a reality show.
Right? Yeah.
I just had to throw that out.
In somebody's reality. Yeah, but I wasn't there for that time back in the 80s, so I can't tell what the difference is between now and then. But I mean, do you see any similarities with this cycle compared to how split the division was back then?
Well, you see, I don't engage with that at all. I don't give it any energy whatsoever. And to me, to say that this person or that person had been elected is like saying, oh, look, there's a tree over there that the leaves are slightly greener than the other when you're looking at a forest. Honestly, I have given it absolutely zero energy, and it's like completely and utterly irrelevant with regards to how we embody the new paradigm in ourselves and in our own personal lives.
My memory, LFP says this is completely different.
Okay.
We're in a completely different world. We have grown so much intellectually and spiritually in the last 30 years that it's nowhere near the same. It's completely different. So that's just my impression, my opinion. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, so we're going through. Well, let's look at this year now. I mean, that's what the show's kind of central focus is right now. So many people throughout the last 15, 20 years. When looking ahead, I have heard so many different people, and I've even sensed it myself, that 2017 is the year where we really start seeing expressed on the world stage great change, tremendous change, and we're going to be able to begin to see the fruits of our labor.
Okay, can I just stop you there a moment?
Absolutely.
So, in 2010, when I was asked to go public, I said, okay, I'll do it, but only for a little short time. And I said, okay, until when? And I looked at the most insignificant year where I could stop being public and just concentrate on the other work. Or maybe leave the planet. I wasn't sure at the time. Anyways, I looked, and I thought, I tried different years, and they all were supercharged and had so many information and stuff about what's going to happen there. And then I went to 2017, and I can tell you I did a lot of research about 2017 that there was zero, nothing, nada said about no one was even mentioning it, ever. 2017 was not even in the public awareness. It wasn't even a hint of it. And I thought that's the perfect time, because then it won't be given any type of significance of when I'm going to stop doing this work. This is going to be great. So I chose 2017. It was like 2 months after that all of a sudden, 2017, like everywhere. It started, the first one I saw, and I thought, no way. It was an article that I read, and I read it the first time, and it had no 2017 in it. The second time I read it, somebody sent me about 2017. I said, I read that article. It doesn't have anything to do with 2017 in it. And I read it again, and sure enough, it had it. And it was this guy who had learned all about the Mayan calendar in 2012. And he said, no, don't worry about 2012. talk about 2017 instead. And I go, no way, that was not there before. You know, it's like, oh my gosh. And then it's a typical one of those Mandela
effect
things. Now, as the years went by, more and more and more and more people started talking about 2017 like it's the most significant year in the planet. And I was like, no way. So yeah, whether we created it as a consciousness, like a collective, or whether I stepped into a collective that 2017 was super important since like several hundred years ago. It is now. It is in this one, and everybody's talking about it and been talking about it. You know, it's in what the new 2012 is now 2017.
Right.
And to me, it's like, no way, you know, now it's super significant, and what am I going to do about that? Yeah, I think that is very, 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 very telling of how pliable and how manageable and also how extremely powerful we are at manifesting reality, not just into the future, but into the past too. And it's just one of those examples, just like all those other Mandela effect examples, you know, how we can now literally see it manifest in front of us.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, aren't we?
Mhm.
Yeah. I just, you know, this whole, I think we have, this is Tom's take on it, and this is what I've gotten through, you know, my research and my inner search, is this year, there's going to be a lot of turmoil this year. But out of that, even mixed in with that, it's going to be, we're going to see expressed internally and externally a very, very overt and identifiable change and growth. And by the end of this year, I feel like by the end of this year, we're going to be able to do two things. One, take a deep sigh and deep breath, and have that sense of relief that we've made it over a certain hump, and that going forward from that point, it's going to be okay. We can really get down to business and really get to work on setting up our future. And then in the next few years is going to be just amazing work. Just some amazing changes and shifts happening. So that's just Tom's take.
Yeah, it's a very wise take, because the discernment, you know, it's like, it's so clear now. I mean, if you still believe all that nonsense that's going on in the media, you have to be super, super dedicated to staying asleep, really dedicated, you know. And if you fall into the let's save them all thing again, then, you know, you haven't released that energy yet, and you're going to go down with the dark side.
Right.
Because when in a planet full of empowered individuals and nature and loving and everything, you don't need to save anyone. There's no victims, so you're going to be sucked into the victim paradigm, or savior or martyr. So it's like really a point of discernment. I think that's why we may see turmoil out in society, because, or even in ourselves, as the energies get intense, if we haven't made an absolute choice yet and decided to embody that choice, we're going to be thrown all over the place because of those energies. And it is really, really to separate the two things. It's almost like one of those tumblers that separate the different elements, and then they can be put into different jars.
Right.
You know, the ones. That's a really good thing.
Wow. So, what do you see energetically coming for us? I know you're an amazing intuitive as far as the way energy comes through in waves for us, and what type of energy is attached to those waves. What do you see coming in 2017 for us?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. It will very much depend on what stand you take yourself. So if you are still holding on to certain low frequency vibrations in your life, it's going to be a hard drive. Or ride. But if you stick to your guns and you actually stop indulging in low frequency energies, it's going to be absolutely fabulous. I mean, everything's going to be ease and beautiful. And don't take it personally. You know, just don't take things personally when others decide to go somewhere else.
Right.
Like, you know, it's like I have a personal situation right now. I'm going through a custody battle with my ex, and it's about my child, you know, and it's all about the choices that we make. If I go into battle and try to win, I'm feeding that energy, and then it can be hijacked to get a very low frequency result. By respecting all of them, their energies, including my son's, who's a little boy, I can, and also staying out of the battle, that I don't take it personally if I win or lose, like those words that they're using, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I can see the bigger picture. And it is a choice, my life choice for my child, because it means that if he chooses to, or it all gets choreographed so that his choice of staying in California is honored, then he's going to be vaccinated. He's going to have to go to certain schools. He's going to be neglected every evening because his father doesn't come home until late at night. And all those type of things. You know, it's like it's a life that is very sleepy, full of chemicals and disempowerment. And that's a choice. If he and everything gets choreographed so that I'm given custody and he comes to live with me, he will be vaccine free. He will get training in because he's extremely, he's got the shamanic lineage in him. He'll get the shamanic training. He'll get lots of tools and information, and then he'll have different choices. Now, it doesn't mean that whether he chooses to live here or in California, he's going to be bad or good, or he's not going to turn out to be a dark worker or a drug addict or whatever. That doesn't mean anything like that. It means that for now, that's other choices. And, you know, he might live in California and have all the vaccines and all the neglect and everything else, which is what's happening at the moment. And he might be a wonderful person and step into his shamanic lineage and everything anyway. Or he might come here and receive all the training, love, and attention and care and whatever, and no vaccinations. And he may turn out to be, you know, choose a really dark path of alcoholism or drug addiction or whatever. You know, we don't know. But the present choice affects everybody and everything. So whatever gets choreographed, I had to step out of judgment, and I had to step out of taking it personally and seeing the bigger picture. Whatever is, because I have stepped into that non-judgment and also stay in a really high frequency place where I really, really want the best for what's for him and his father and everybody around us, without saying that best is me involved in there somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. I allow for that expression to happen without feeding the low frequency stuff. So, that's the type of discernment I'm talking about. You're going to be pulled into drama. You're going to be pulled into conflict. But how you respond to it is going to really dictate how you live every day and your day-to-day life. You know?
Well, LFP actually has, you were getting ready to go there, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Go for it. All right.
So I'm going through a very similar situation right now. My son, he's 13, and I just now got a temporary custody of him because of a whole long array of things that have happened in these last few years. But I definitely hear what you're saying, and it is a very tough situation to be put in for me when, you know, there has been a lot of hard feelings in the past between me and his mother. Mm-hmm. And right now she's just in a horrible situation, and I'm to a point now where, you know, I see a lot of people around me that know the situation, and some of them are taking joy in the fact that she's in such a bad place because of all the things that she's put us through, or that she's put me through. But for me, I see it, you know, I don't want to say the word pity, but I feel for her, you know, and I mean, even though that she's done so many things, you know, I still want the best for her, not for me, but but for her and for my son as well, because he needs these kind of things. He needs his mother, you know, even though she's put me through a lot of things, that's still his mother and he needs her. And, you know, I can see myself, you know, I'm almost on that teeter-totter where I almost want to do the whole, oh, I told you so, you know, like I knew this, you know, I've been telling you, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you know, this is the path that she decided to walk, and this is where it's gotten her, and, you know, she made these choices, and it's not up to me, and I'm not judging her about it or anything like that. I want the best for her. I want the best for my son.
One of the big points and observations that I've made over this whole situation, LFP, is that throughout the years, you have not pushed it. You have kept your hopes and dreams about what a beautiful outcome for you would be, which would be to get custody of your son. But you have not fought it. You have not pushed it. You have sent love. You have hoped for the best, and you have you've allowed things to transpire and things to unfold, and the benefits that you're now reaping from not taking that hard stance, not taking that combative stance, is that now your son's living with you.
Yeah, full time, every day.
Yeah.
You know.
And the other thing to think, a couple of things that I would say, that to acknowledge that she is having the best life possible. And it's like, you say you wish the best for her, but that's a little bit of judgmental, because you think that you know better than her higher self what that looks like.
Yeah.
Right? And it isn't. She's actually expressing and manifesting the very, very best life for herself now. And to really accept that and step out of judgment about it. And I know as a mother that I want my son to have like a father who's, you know, in a really good place in my judgment, right? But that's not the case. And the best place for him is right now. He's living it, you know?
Right.
And it's really, we really have to step away from that judgment. Our children are also divine eternal beings, and they will make a choice eventually, you know? So, and it doesn't have to be, you know, I suppose one of the things to watch out for and teach your son is not to fall into the savior energy with regards to women, you know, and to expose him to women who are healthy and who are in a frequency or vibration that corresponds to you, that you have, so that he doesn't think that all women are like that and get programmed that way. Sometimes now you get a teenager, you know, it's like, oh yeah, good, good luck with that.
Yes, it's been lots of fun.
Yeah.
Great kid though.
Yeah, so I know they're great kids, but it's like it's not easy, you know. And it's like, for me, if I had a choice a while back, I could have just taken my son from school and got him out here and done one of those ex parte things with very good reason. I didn't choose that, even though that would have made things way simpler for me and way cheaper. I didn't do it because I respected and I wanted the decision and the full unfoldment of the manifestation to be co-created. I may still be forced. I mean, my son loves where he lives. You know, my house in California is not my house apparently anymore. I lost that in the divorce. So it's a beautiful 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom, amazingly huge, full of stuff house. With big televisions and video games and everything. And he gets to spend most evenings playing whatever he wants in those games by himself. Now that's perfect for a 10-year-old. It's like heaven on earth. And if you ask him, why, do you want to live with your mommy or your daddy? 10 times he'll say his daddy because of that, right?
Right.
I mean, there's no lack of love anyways. He may be many things, but he's a very loving father in his own way. So it's one of those situations where I really wanted it to be a full, solid decision, not one that was forced.
Right.
You're right.
When and if I do get him, he's going to be here against his will, and that will bring its own problems anyway.
Right. Right.
So it's one of those, one of those things, those decisions that are hard to discern from a standpoint if we take it personally. But once we step out of taking it personally, and also step out of our judgment of what the other person should live their life like, it gets a lot easier, much, much, much easier. And the other thing is, when you say your son needs his mother, don't put too much energy into that, because sometimes the parent who is in a very low frequency or in a frequency that's not compatible with your child is actually better off to have them outside of the child's life.
Yeah, well, and I'm saying that in the ideal situation, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I definitely hear what you're saying, and I think my whole series of events came by pretty naturally, and I it's kind of odd because I turned 33 last year, and I knew that something was going to happen, something major was going to happen during my 33rd year.
Uh-huh.
And so I've been looking forward to it for the last few years now.
You get a teenage boy.
Yeah, and that's what because this happened middle of October is when was when my son called me to come pick him up.
Nice.
And I was almost 6 months into my 33rd year, and I was thinking, okay, where's it at? Where's it at? And then, bam, here it is.
Nice.
So. Yeah, I'm very appreciative and happy.
Yeah, and teenagers can be an absolute joy. It's like they can be absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, well, he's a handful, but I got big hands, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So, are there any points in this coming year, any peaks of the waves that you've identified so far that we can maybe have our senses maybe heightened at any periods of time that you have seen?
Yeah, the other thing about waves, I don't think that actually illustrates what's happening energetically. It's more like a hill that goes up, right, all the way up, and then it peaks at the end, and then it just falls into something else, right? Or moves into something else, I should say. Moves into another frequency energy, and that peaks at the end of that one, and then moves into something else. And what I've seen, perceived, or looked at is that they last about 3 months. So the one that started around the 29th or 28th of December will last until about, March, I think, isn't it? Or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
End of March. And then the new one starts then. So at the end of March, beware of a peak in energies. And then starts again, that was over, now let's see what the next one does, I have no idea what the other ones are, but I do get that sense that if we stop engaging in low frequency stuff, it's going to be super, super amazing, easy, and wonderful. So
do you see it as a switch of our reality perception? So those of us who are choosing the light side, the love side, we're going to perceive reality in that way, and those of us that are choosing the dark side are going to perceive their reality in that way. So is there going to be an actual split? Is that what you're saying?
It feels that way. It really does feel that way. And our reality is so flexible.
Yeah.
Just like we were talking about the timeline things, the Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit like that, we can still see, I can perceive 2 different timelines with regards to Mandela, the original one. I clearly remember him dying in prison, and I clearly remember him getting free and becoming president.
Yeah.
I remember both,
Yeah.
and I see them both, and I remember them both very, very clearly and real. So I think it's a little bit like that. We will be able to perceive and see how the dark's doing, but they will no longer affect us, and will no longer have a say or any type of effect in our lives. And eventually, it will just taper off and will disappear. That's what I think. I mean, I don't know. We haven't got there yet.
Right.
But that's how it feels as I look into that.
Hmm. Well, right now at the beginning of 2017 here, I just have, like I said at the beginning of the show, I have a new sense of optimism. 2016 for me was I don't know. It's almost like it was a nothing year, right? A blank year for me. Hard to describe. It's very hard to describe. But and there were periods through 2016 where I couldn't see the future. I couldn't see that the end of the nothingness. But now, since the beginning of the year, the end of through December, I'm reinvigorated. The obstacles seem to have are beginning to melt away again, and I'm very optimistic once again and excited to see this year unfold. I mean, both for me internally and what's happening in the world. I mean, I see so many positive things happening now. So I'm just excited. I'm really excited about what's coming up in our future. It's just, yeah.
It's brilliant.
Woohoo!
It does seem like change is out there. I mean, we had definitely seen change in a lot of different things. And a lot of different topics that have been brought up and that have been talked about in the past 5 and 6 months. So it is very exciting to see what's going to happen. But I always say I always try to stay positive about it. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
I was really interested when you said about the invisible year, that for you 2016 was invisible.
Right.
I really like that because I had one of those years. For me, it was 2013. And even before 2013, I would try to look into 2013, and it wasn't there. It's like it was non-existent. And I was like, that is so odd. And then I would look at 2014, and there it was.
Right.
16, 17, and it's like, what's going to happen in 2013? Why is it invisible? Why can't I see it? And now, looking back in time to my memories, it is invisible. I have no idea what happened in 2013 because it's completely and utterly invisible to me. I don't remember anything that happened in that year. So it's like, it's really fascinating that you've had that too. I wonder if it's something that other people have experienced, with a year that just disappears.
Right. Well, I would say it's actually, I would bet you that it is a very widespread phenomena, especially for people who are on a spiritual path, who are consciously working on developing spiritually. I'll bet you that it's a widespread phenomenon.
Yeah.
I'd be curious. How about some feedback out of you guys out there listening? And maybe I'll throw something up on Facebook and do a little poll on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
What was your invisible year?
I love it.
I'll do something like that. That'd be interesting to see the results of. So.
Yeah.
So what has Inelia got planned for 2017? You working on another book, I hear?
Oh, yeah. We published the interview with an angel December 2016, so that's available on paperback and on download and everything. And if you haven't read it, oh my God, you got to read it. I love that. I love that book. Now I'm working on another book. It's a novel, and it's completely different to the interview series. It is based, the main characters, there's a human character, there's an Anunnaki character, and there's a reptilian character. They're the main protagonists. And the main character is human-ish. 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 Anyways, I think you're going to love it. I hope to finish it this year, 2017. I've also, as you know, stepped out of waking up the masses, public work, and I'm now concentrating on supporting and expressing with those individuals who have chosen the light paradigm. So it's no longer a broad wake-up message, but a more in-depth and more personal and more concentrated, I suppose. I'm spending 0 times with those individuals who have chosen to express darkness in any way or form or any degree even. And it's quite awesome. I mean, that's something that a role that I used to play and do before I went public. I would write books and support people who were light workers, basically. And I'm stepping back into that, just writing the books and doing that support for this year. In this year, I see a few things, 3 things mainly. One of them, I see it is the year to heal the hurt. And I talk about that a little bit on my YouTube that's looking at 2017. Healing the hurt, I feel that in this year, 2017, I will be doing a lot of things. And the team and I at Ascension 1-1 has already started working on how to support healers, right? So that's going to be big this year. If you're a healer, you have my attention. And also the why the healers? Why am I aiming at the healers? Because those are the individuals who are going to be healing the hurts of the collective. That's why. And then there is commitment. The commitment to really step into the choice that you've made. So if you've chosen light, really embody that. Physically, mentally, spiritually, energetically embody that light. And do not indulge in any darkness or negative or low frequency stuff. That's the commitment. I see a big commitment this year. You really, really have to do that now. And the third is the union aspect of it, the unification of all those individuals who have chosen the light to come together and be one and work together and go out and do stuff, but only after they've healed the hurt. You know? This is something that I was really happy to see happen in Standing Rock last year. The elders were very, very strict with regards to people who were taking action and doing things in the camp or protecting the water, you know, like the actions they were taking. They were not allowed to take any actions until they healed their hurt, because they found that many, many people who arrived, especially the Native American people that arrived, but also other races as well, were hurting culturally, socially, historically, familial hurts of all the things that happened to them, and also personal stuff that were happening to them or that they were involved in. And they were not allowed to do any action until they healed that hurt, and they would have to do ceremony and other healing modalities until it was done. And they weren't allowed to do actions until they were healed, you know? Yeah. So, and that changed the entire like energy of that. And then unification. This is the first time in our recorded history that all those Native American nations and other groups of people like the veterans and other other races came together with one intent to protect water. And it's the very first time that, I mean, I live in a Native American reservation, and I've seen it reflected here in this reservation, where when I arrived 2 years ago, they wouldn't even talk to the nations next to them, the tribes on the other side of, you know, like...
right, the guy across the street, yeah.
Yeah, because it was a different tribe, and they've been in battle for thousands of years with each other. And all of a sudden, now they're like talking about, hey, you know, why don't we join in our efforts of fishing and other cultural things? Why don't we join in this and that? And it's like the very, very first time in thousands of years that that's happened. Beautiful. Right? Yeah. So it's being reflected here, and that's an energy of unification that we can map to. All of us around the planet can map to. And why? I look at it in intent. What do you want? Even if it's just, I want clean, fresh water all around the planet. Just one intent can join you in that unification energy. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Wow.
Here we go, 2017, the invisible year. Oh, I think that's great. I mean, because yeah, I've heard about 2017. Geez, I don't remember the first time I heard it. It had to have been 2000. God, I don't remember. It was around 2009, 2010.
Okay.
So the first time I heard it.
Yeah, because I told you.
But then I'd read it out of stuff that had been written in the 90s. You know.
I know. Oh, that was so annoying when that stuff changed.
So. Wow. Well, you know, I'm very optimistic, and energy feels optimistic, and you know, I think we've got some interesting roads ahead, and some fun roads ahead, and some, like you said, I like that healing focus that you're doing this year. That's that's a very important part of us moving forward, because there has been a lot of pain. And there's a lot of injuries out there, and if those injuries aren't ever healed and addressed, then the judgment remains.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, it sounds like, you know, from what I've heard from people, it sounds like 2016 really kicked some people's asses, you know, and so 2017, I do like the healing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why 2016 was an invisible year for me, is because I got my ass kicked.
You got your ass kicked out of the Matrix, man.
Yeah. No, I didn't get my ass kicked last year, but unless I was kicking it myself.
By yourself, yeah.
I was kicking my own ass, yeah.
It's always standardized, isn't it?
It is kind of weird the way 2016 feels to me now. It's like, where'd it go? Where was it? Was it really there? So anyways, Inelia, oh my God, this has been fantastic to have you on. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on you want to throw out there before we say au revoir?
Au revoir. Well, I have a new website. I mean, my website is still Ascension 101, but I have a new website. It's just Inelia. So if you go to Inelia.com, you'll find me there. And I'm going to be putting my projects and my non-public stuff there. You know, it's like the stuff I'm going to be concentrating on. The other thing is about healing. One of the things, like you talked about earlier, is the first step to healing is to acknowledge that you have a problem, right? You talked about that earlier.
Right.
So if you're in pain, if you're hurt, or if you're in fear, find yourself a healer. Find yourself a modality that really works for you. And look for it and find it and do it. Concentrate on that. Invest in yourself with regards to healing this year. That's what I would say.
Well, that's some good advice I need to take.
Yeah.
I've got some physical things that I really, I mean, I've looked high and low for, well, I can't say that I've looked high and low, but I've looked. And it hasn't come to me yet, but that's, you know, a good reminder for me that I need to look more. I need to look again. I need to find is what I need to do. Is I know it's there. I know it's there, and I've always known it's there, but I just haven't found it yet.
Right.
That's thank you for that, because I just put that back at the top of my list again.
Good. That's excellent.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Let's see. Oh, I would like, how about, let's go with the first 5 listeners that send me an email that tell me about their invisible year. What year was it, and what was it about that year that was invisible? And then you will be the recipient of a copy of Inelia's new book, Interview with an Angel. I got it. Hey, so the first 5 of you guys that drop us an email at info@the100thmonkeyradio.com, and I'll need an address too, and I will send you guys her book. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Good stuff. All right, guys. Much love to you, Inelia. Ascension101.com or Inelia.com. Now that you've shared that, I'm going to have to go over there also.
I like it.
we will be getting back on the horse here at the 100thmonkeyradio.com and bringing you guys some more shows this year. So
good. Look forward to that.
Good stuff.
Thank you so much, LFP and Tom.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you.
All right, guys. Well, until the next time, condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance.
Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change.
Namaste, my friends.